I, again, was in a household that spanking was the norm if you misbehaved, if it was warranted. It wasn't just an act. But to me, there's a difference between fighting and spanking. Fighting to me is violent, right? And we were taught from day one, you do not hit, you do not kick, you do not do violent things. Spanking was something that was disciplinary, and it was clearly disciplinary. And for me, being the child that I was, I knew that I earned every single spanking I got. I had a lot of lip and all of that. My brother, being the younger child, similar to your situation, he was kind of like, Pam is off the chain. I'm not going down that path, so I'm just going to stand back. But I think for me, there was a distinction between my conduct outside of the home was very respectful. My mother and father were adamant about respect. And my mother used to say oftentimes, don't you embarrass me. So it was always a demeanor that I had externally that I knew was representative of the lifestyle and the upbringing that my parents taught us. So spanking to me was never something that I viewed nor my parents viewed as an act of violence. And there is oftentimes, and we've all been out at the Nordstrom in the grocery store, where you do see a mother spanking a child, and it does appear to be violent and abusive, less disciplinary and instructive, to the point where you sometimes bristle at what's happening. And I think, that's where the gray area comes in. And I think that's where some parents aren't really sure or clear why they are in the act that they're doing with their children. Is it to, express some kind of frustration in a violent kind of way, and you're missing the teaching point? So I think it is a valid question, and it's a valid point, because we talk so much about the violence of video games and what kids are doing at school and what they see on the news and what's happening in the streets. But it is something that I think parents have to teach. And to your point about the conversation, now I was spanked and then the conversation happened, right? After I calmed down and quit snotting and crying, then my mother or father would come in and say, now let's talk about what happened. And they would hear my explanation, my thought process, and we would have the conversation. So that wasn't dismissed, that wasn't discounted, but there was the discipline that came first.